The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com
We were on the break!
with Nick Eatman, David Hellman, Ambar Garcia, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Monday, October 25th, 2021, Season 17, Episode number 46. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break Live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're coming fresh off the Cowboys bye. They didn't play yesterday, but there was some action in the NFL. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. Today, we got some topics around the Cowboys. Nick, before we get going, get me started with a 46. Actually,
oh man.
Did
y'all do this when
we didn't, but you and I talked about this, and we couldn't go by and not acknowledge a 44.
That's the best
that meant a lot to both of us, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. Robert Newhouse is one of my favorite players of all time. Not only when he played, I was just a young kid when he played, but after that, when he was here, I know he was a great mentor for a lot of people. Just an awesome person. He's no longer with us, and it's very sad. But Robert Newhouse was an outstanding person and player.
Yeah, I was telling you about some of my experiences with Robert. He was like coming into this organization. I was a manager at a very young age, and there weren't a lot of people that looked like me at that table of leaders here throughout the Cowboys. He was one of them, and I remember him pulling me aside one time and telling me, gave me some really great advice about handling those types of situations, and it still serves me well today. So I'm forever grateful to that man. He was a really, really great guy. And miss having him around here. You guys never obviously got a chance to meet him.
I didn't.
45.
Yeah.
So we got to go 45 and 46.
Yeah, you got a 45?
Well, Darren Woodson wore it before he moved to 28. It was 45.
I don't even know if I remember that.
Rod Smith, baby. Come on.
Rod Smith.
Beast.
I like it. I was going with, Nicky.
As soon as you said Rod Smith, for some reason I thought Denver Broncos.
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that Rod
One's
Smith.
like one of the best receivers in the 90s.
Right, yeah.
And one had like one great game against the Giants.
Right.
In 46, I think there's a guy named Joe Fishbach. I just like the name Joe Fishbach.
Amber, you want to tell us about Joe Fishbach?
I have no idea.
I think what I'm learning here
The only
is,
one I know out of these names is Rod Smith. That's it.
I mean, the 40s are avoided like the plague by everybody. I mean, unless you're a long snapper or a fullback, nobody wants to wear a number in the 40s.
Yep.
Other than
Alfred Morris was also 46.
There
there we go. Alfie
there
Mo.
we go. I liked him. He was a fun
great.
player.
Loved
Alfred was a
Alfie.
different cat.
Still is.
He was when he was here. He was
good different
He
cat,
was
like-
different, but in a cool way.
good way.
He was the best. He was, yeah. That sounds dumb, but like if a player, and not to say like players are jerks, but you get used to that lifestyle and the amount of people that are asking for things from you. You don't care so much about that. Alfred Morris would, like, he went through it. Every time he talked to the media, he'd be like, what did you say your name was? Dave, good to see you. And then he would remember it later.
Yeah.
And that's not, like I said, like that doesn't make other guys jerks, but like to have that many demands on your attention and your time and still take the time to do that. He would go sit outside the weight room on Tuesdays on the off day, or maybe it was Mondays, but like one of the days when they weren't practicing, you could catch him outside the weight room like reading a book. You just don't see that type of stuff very often.
When you
Absolutely love that.
When you pull up into the parking lot to go fly out for the charter, you drive in there with your car, and it's like you see all these other guys and their stuff. And then you drive next to Alfred Morris, and you're like, is this – I mean, where was he
Well,
driving?
yeah, the Mazda. Yeah, he was famous for having the same car from when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And like Mazda re-outfitted it for him. And
Yeah.
I think every time he went to a new team, the media would pick up that story and be like, oh, my God, he drives a
still got
91 Mazda. Yeah. I think he still – I follow him on Instagram still. I think he still has it.
I think the funny thing about that Mazda was he had a Mercedes front license plate on it, like the logo for Mercedes.
I think that's right. I would like to think that – I think at some point in his career he probably got another car. I'm not saying it was like a Lambo or anything, but he's like, okay, the Mazda treated me well. I can probably get another car.
Good guy. I loved Alfred Morris. That was a good
You
number.
can do this on a Monday when there's no game.
Yeah, we're coming
By the way,
off a bye.
Another 45 is Richmond Flowers Sr., by the way, in 1971.
Let's just go through the whole roster and not talk
like-
about Dak's calf.
I like
let's
it.
just
do it
not,
the whole
let's just
show.
not talk
A
about
good
it.
45 minutes of numbers, numerology
Yeah.
here on the
Okay.
break. All right, let's talk about Dak's injury. This injury came up last week. Obviously, he was in the boot coming out of the game against the Patriots. What are we hearing? What are you guys hearing as far as his injury? How much of an injury is it? How much of a concern is it? How much could it possibly affect his ability to not only play but play well over the next coming weeks?
Why is Dave looking at me?
You looked like you had something to say.
I don't think anything. I don't think anybody has anything to say. I really don't. I don't. There's no report or anything. Tell me what he's going to do on Friday afternoon. Tell me what he's going to do Sunday afternoon. I mean, that Sunday when he's there. That you can say everything, you can rest and all that, but it is a injury that is very, very difficult. And I think we'll wait and see. I mean, yeah, all jokes aside, you're funny.
I'm sorry, man. Every time I hear about calves, I just think about you because you're like, before I had my injury, I didn't think calves.
I
were that
didn't,
big
but
a deal.
I'm
now.
Yeah, let's just leave this out of it because I mean,
Okay.
he is an athlete.
Get it,
and
yeah,
I'm
I get it.
definitely
Not only that, but he's got
he's got people caring.
the
about his
power
calf.
of a $5 billion organization is bent on getting him ready for
Yeah.
that game. And Nick, they're just like, yeah, put some ice on it.
and
whatever, who
I was
cares?
stupid. And I was jumping around, still trying to do something. That was dumb. But the thing about it is that you won't really know what it is until we get later on. I mean, he can rest all week. He's got to go and run and do things. I said this on the radio this morning and really kind of deflated those guys on the air because I said I'll be shocked if he's able to play the way he normally is. I think he might play, but he won't be the same.
Really?
I really don't believe that.
I don't think that's a bad guess. I mean, you asked what we're hearing. I've heard that he's out of the boot. Which, I mean, that's a positive sign, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you can rest all week, you can spend all week in the hot tub, doing all the treatments to it, and he hasn't had to backpedal or plant and throw since the game. So I think he's making progress, and I think the optimism from last week was probably well founded. I think it was Jerry that was like the bye is a perfect time, and I think he can get out there against Minnesota. We'll see. I think. A lot of cause for optimism, a lot of things trending in the right direction, but playing and existing are different things. You know what I mean? So it's just something. As always with these types of injuries, you just got to watch the workload and see how it changes as the week goes.
If he's not like anywhere close to 100%, if he's going to be struggling through it, I'd sit him.
Really?
I would sit him if there's any kind of chance to re-aggravate this and make it a longer thing.
Well, that's one of the interesting things you got to think about too here is that sometimes you can play through an injury, but what happens is your body kind of compensates for what's ailing you, and it puts extra strain on other things, which you may not re-aggravate that particular injury, but it could create other things as you go forward because you start using your body in different ways. So that's the part you get a little bit concerned about if he rushes back. If any player rushes back from any injury, that you could have other injuries that come from that. But Amber, I'll ask you this question, and Nick brought up the point of maybe sitting him. From what you've seen from this team, wait, no, we gotta wait for me to answer the question. I mean, ask the question.
You're not sitting him?
No.
She knows where I'm going.
She read the red down, I'm sure.
I'm going. Yes,
she read the red down.
So thinking about what you've seen from this team, and I'm talking offensively and defensively, how they've been able to play. Obviously, they're 5-1, and they're considered one of the top teams in the NFL. Definitely one of the top teams in the NFC and the top team in their division. Do you think this team is capable of winning without Dak Prescott?
I'll say it in Spanish. No.
No.
No, honestly, again, I don't think that they have enough at quarterback behind Dak Prescott. And I was all up for Cooper Rush back when he started and got here. I was like, yeah, Cooper Rush. But then in the past few years, he hasn't given me enough to feel comfortable. And, last year they had Andy Dalton, and I felt comfortable about Andy Dalton. And then the offense was still kind of working, and they could do some work on there and place good on the field. But look how they performed last year, and that was with Andy Dalton behind the line. And I get it that this team is on a roll right now, and everyone's playing pretty well and all that. But I do not feel comfortable enough to think that Cooper Rush can get back there behind that line and make it happen.
No, I don't. I agree. I mean, I don't.
So you want to sit him, and you don't even think they can win without him.
I want to sit him if he's still kind of going through some stuff. This isn't a bone that's going to heal, eventually, and maybe you can cast it up until it does heal. This is a muscle strain, and I can speak for that. That if you don't give it the proper attention, 2 years later you'll still feel it. You still feel it. So. I'm not going to risk that. And yeah, I don't think he can. I don't think Cooper Rush, not against Minnesota, not against the Horn, not against Sunday Night Football. No, I don't think that they'll go up there and win that game without him in there.
I'm not trying to call y'all homers, but I'm relieved that I don't have to be the downer, because I wasn't 100% sure, because I think it's the peak of hubris to assume that Cooper Rush could pull that off for you. No, I don't think that.
No, they have depth in so many other areas.
Not quarterback.
That's the one that you're like,
he's thrown 3 NFL passes.
And I don't think you can fully rely just on the running game either. I get it. Zeke has been doing good. You got oh my God,
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard. You got him, who we know he can do the job as well behind Zeke. But even with those 2 running backs, I don't think they can just rely on purely on the run to win a game.
You got to throw out the caveat that the NFL is weird and anything can happen. Like, of course, there is a physical, theoretical chance that they could win that game without Dak. I certainly wouldn't put money on it. I would. No way.
So is this about just how great Dak is, or how little you think of Cooper Rush?
Both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was 50-50 for, I think, a lot of us. When at the end of training camp, it was like Rush or Garrett Gilbert. It's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I think at this point I'd rather have Garrett Gilbert in there right now. I think, which that's bad foresight for me, because I think I was leaning towards Rush. But now I'm thinking about what you said about 3 passes. I'd rather the guy that's gone and played Pittsburgh when they were 11-0 and gave him a fighting chance. And
that was, and if you remember, like that, he had a lot less weapons than what they have right now due to injury. So that's why I look at it and I'm like, well, if he could do that, no, it's not the same guy. And I personally,
he lost.
He didn't play.
I get that, but I think the way that they played with all the things that they had, all the players they didn't have for that game, I felt like it was enough of an effort that you give those players back, particularly the tackles. You give them some tackles, you give them some protection, that game may have been a different game.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I do. Again, you're not wrong, and there is a chance, but I think it's bold, bordering on hubris to just be like, yeah, he can come in and do. The Vikings, their record doesn't show it. Kirk Cousins is playing great right now. Like, this is a tough game if Dak is available. Like, we've been kind of on this roll where we think the Cowboys are going to win by 2 or 3 scores for the last month. This ain't going to be that. I'll be shocked. Even if Dak is available, I'll be shocked if this is anything but a tight game. Yeah. It's hard to go into that building and win, and definitely do it decisively. So,
especially if there's fans.
That's what. Yeah, I mean,
they won last year. No fans.
Minnesota's on that short list of like collegiate environments. We always talk about the NFL is a little bit different, but some stadiums get noisy. Why can't I talk?
Was it like that? I don't remember.
Yes, and I know because
I do remember when they were at their old stadium. It used to be extremely loud.
The one time we've been there since they opened the new place was Thursday night. Yeah. The Vikings had Bradford. They were decent. And you can tell, too, because it's one of the few stadiums in the league that has an open press box.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't hear myself. It was so loud.
Yeah.
Was that the one?
Cowboys won on the last play of the game. I think the Vikings didn't get the 2-point conversion. It was loud all night.
I forgot it was open stadium. I know the old stadium was open.
Oh, get ready. It's going to be noisy.
That was Bradford?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you have that app on your phone. Derek loves having this stupid app that records how loud each stadium
and
is.
Every few minutes I'd show Dan, we're like, look, it's loud. Look, Amber, it's loud.
Cool.
But yeah, No, I mean, I don't feel good about that, but this is what you sign up for. And it's hard. It's hard to the Joneses said that all through the offseason is when you pay the quarterback like this, it's hard to have somebody that you feel good about. Last year created some really unique scenarios. Like Andy Dalton was willing to sign for that. Jameis Winston was willing to sign for that, especially with COVID opening up and it not being quite as crazy as it was. That's harder to pull off. I would love if they had a former NFL MVP who's unemployed on this team to help deal with this, but they don't. And for that matter, I don't know if he would even be willing to sign here. But it's just these are the things that you think about when you ponder whether or not Dak is going to be able to play.
Do you guys give any benefit of doubt that maybe they've developed Cooper Rush to a point where he can give them a chance after looking at what they did with Terrence Steele? Because I know before Terrence Steele this year, I was convinced I'm not trusting anything they say about young guys because they put all these young guys out there, but they weren't performing, and so I just didn't trust it. Now I'm starting to think, well, maybe they got that one right. Maybe they developed him. Maybe they knew what they were talking about when they said we see potential in him. Do you give them any benefit of doubt that comes from that you can now move over to the quarterback position?
He plays the most important position on the team, and when they signed Andy Dalton, they fired him. They were like, no, you got to go. And that's, I mean, somebody does have to go when you sign somebody, but if you think the world of this guy, and again, he plays a position where you might not ever get him back if he shows anything, they were like, well, that's fine. Go to New York, do what you got to do. They brought him back when a ridiculous amount of injuries forced their hand. They lost Dak, they lost Dalton. And then this year, I mean, I'm still baffled by the way that whole thing played out. It's not a major storyline once the season starts, but like, again, people are like, well, you guys didn't see this coming. It's like, they didn't show us anything. Cooper Rush didn't get a single first-team rep all of training camp. They handed it all to Garrett Gilbert, and then in the final week of the preseason, it became the Cooper Rush show. So, no. I mean, they can say that if they want to, and maybe they're right, but nothing about their process has shown that that's how they feel.
But also the fact that even after they had him back here, they were still talking about the possibility. It didn't come to fruition, but they were still talking about possibility of bringing in a quarterback, an experienced quarterback. So that makes me think, like, they know. So because if you feel confident enough in a guy like Cooper Rush that you can develop for this year, you wouldn't be still like kind of shopping around and see what can come. And they didn't bring anyone in.
It's a great point. They worked out Driscoll. They worked out Hundley. Like they weren't acting like a team that felt great about its depth at quarterback.
Yeah. Any chance Greer is the guy that kind of can move up into that position? Have you heard anything about him since they signed him?
Should be active.
I actually asked Doug Nussmeier about him. They made the assistants available on Tuesday during the bye week. I didn't really ask him thinking that he might start this game, just more like, what's it look like when you have to bring a guy on like that? And he just said, you start small, start with just the basics of what they would have to do if they had to be active or had to play. And he did say he thought Will Grier has picked up a remarkable amount in the, whatever it's been, 6-8 weeks since he's been here. I would be shocked if that meant that he was elevated over Cooper Rush. But yeah, I guess he would be active.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, we're going to do an interesting little game here. Nick sent this out over the weekend for everyone to figure out what their top 15 players for the Cowboys during this season have been. We're going to go through that list. Everybody has their own list of 15. We're going to go through that list, talk about it, see where everybody ranks these guys. We'll do that when we come right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit att.com for details.
Back to the break.
I don't have a read for us right now because I was doing something else. So we'll give me a few minutes, or a few seconds, and I'll come back with something else. So I thought I could multitask, but I couldn't. So
welcome back to the second segment of the break, live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star.
We've
got about 25 minutes left on the show. We're going to get into a little bit of a debate, or I
can tell you about text messages though, real quick. Can I just tell you that?
Why don't you do that?
All right. You just can receive new offers and event information. Sign up to receive text messages from the Cowboys. Text Cowboys at NFL DAL. That's 635-325 to receive 10% off your next Pro Shop order. Okay.
That's a good little offer. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the top 15 players. We all went through and gave our top 15 for the 2021 season thus far. And Nick compiled all those, and an article will be going up later on DallasCowboys.com.
I appreciate the people that did their homework assignment. Not everyone did, but everyone in this room did, and I appreciate it.
That's because we all are dedicated members of the team, and we try to do what's best for the team. So we'll talk about those other folks a little later. All right, so, Nick, why don't you tell us the compilation of all those? What do we have, a top 15? Why don't you start from 15, and then let's
I got some honorable mentions.
Out of 15, you had honorable mentions.
Yeah, I had 4 honorable mentions.
Sure, go for it.
When you're 5-1,
DeMonte Casey, Greg Zuerlein, Leighton Vander Esch, Terrence Steele.
Greg Zuerlein, that's an interesting one. Mm-hmm. I thought he was like public enemy number
Terrence
2.
Steele didn't make the top 15?
Mm-mm.
Really?
He did for me.
I had Zuerlein ranked 15.
You did?
He won 2 games for you.
Oh, okay.
He could have won 3 if they would have stopped the Bucs. I mean, he's played pretty good. He's had some clutch kicks for this team. So yeah,
you look around the league, and
everybody's missing. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I think. And it was a PAT that he missed in Tampa?
Yeah.
If he doesn't miss that, I think people are probably not whining so much.
No, it wasn't a PAT.
Or it was a really short field goal.
Yeah, it was
and he didn't miss a PAT in that game?
Like the next week. No, after the Chargers win, I remember he missed one the next game, and it was like, well, you did make a 56-yarder, so we'll give you a pass.
Point being, he's like, one of his misses was really egregious. Yeah. Other than that, I think people would be fine.
Yeah.
KZ, Zuerlein, Vander Esch, Terrence Steele. Okay, number 15 on the list,
15.
Anthony Brown.
Let's go.
You know what? I actually was very happy to see that because I was like, there are a lot of people out there that are hating Anthony Brown. And really, if you think about how he's played, like, he hasn't really made a lot of bad plays for
There's
his team.
a lot of people in this world that don't understand that the league is designed to produce 400-yard passers on a regular basis, and those yards have to come from somebody.
Right.
How many teams in the NFL have 2 lockdown corners that simply don't allow completions?
There is none.
It's Cheeto Awuzie all over again, you know? He was typically in good coverage, didn't play the ball as well as you would prefer, and lost out sometimes because of it. But guess what? Most cornerbacks do because the league is unfairly slanted against them.
Yeah. Leads the team in tackles, and then that could be it. That's not always a great thing for a corner, but it's making tackles, making plays. 14, Cedric Wilson.
Hell yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Should be on the list, should be that high. I mean, I think that's a perfect number for him.
Wasn't on my list, but
really
no. But I mean, it was close.
Why wouldn't you put him on
Nick,
your list?
It was close.
It's the curve grading on a curve versus not grading on a curve.
No, he's played great, but I mean, I put Terrence Steele over him. I put Zuerlein over him. I mean, I
Zuerlein is the difference. Yeah, I had him at 14.
That's the thing when he sent out the email to put together this list. Is one of those things that you're thinking, okay, how do you keep it very neutral to what we're actually looking at this year on the field and not think, okay, well, he was this way last year and then now like grading on a curve. So I had a rough time putting together my list. 1, because of that. 2, once we get closer to the top, I think a lot of those players are very like right there on the line. Mm-hmm. So it was very, very hard to judge because they're right there, but for different reasons. Like every player has their own unique skill and everything, but it was an interesting list, but I'm surprised you didn't have him at all.
No, I mean, it was close. I didn't put him.
But
on
you had
there.
him as one of your honorable mentions.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just put 15. I didn't put it in. Now, the next guy I also didn't have on the list was number 13, Oso Digizua.
Oh, hell yeah.
13.
I had him up higher than that, actually. Yeah. I had Tony Pollard at 13, but I think that's
Oso.
a good. I had Oso up at 10. I thought he's been, other than Randy Gregory, I think he's been the best defensive lineman this team has had.
Yeah.
I had him right at 13.
Yeah, he was not.
Where did you have him?
Not on the list.
You didn't have him on the list at all. Why?
I went with Anthony Brown, Terrence Steele, and Greg Zuerlein. Those are my last three guys like that. I didn't put Cedric Wilson or Odigizua. I mean, I think he's played pretty good. Again, he's played okay. I mean, he's played pretty good.
I'll be interested to see who
better
else.
than okay.
He's been better than okay because he's a rookie third-round pick from UCLA.
Well, yeah, that matters.
Not to me. It doesn't.
And there we go again. It's like a curve versus not a curve. And that's fine if that's the way you view it. But
right. I mean, I don't view it that way. I mean, why should we do that? Why should we grade that way?
Honestly, I'm not grading that way.
You're not grading that way.
You can put him up against the other guys who've been in the league for much longer. He still is the second best defensive lineman on this team.
75% of guys drafted to play that position where he was drafted would be struggling to get a jersey. That's why it matters. That's why I think it matters. I think he's drastically outplaying his draft stock for where he is in his career.
That's great. That's awesome. That means don't come calling to try to trade the guy or whatever. No, we got great upside in him, but that doesn't mean to me that he has been better than Terrence Steele. I think Terrence Steele has been better. I think Zuerlein has made more of an impact in that. But that's okay. I mean, we're talking. He ranked 13th. I would have had him 17th. Okay, no big deal. All right, Tony Pollard, number 12.
I had him at 13.
I mean, he's a backup running back, and he's ranked 12th. That just tells you how great he's played. That tells you how great Zeke has been.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's way more than a backup, too, because the way that
his numbers say he's way more than a backup.
He would start for like 24 teams.
Yeah.
And as good as Zeke has been, you still can tell the difference when he gets the ball versus when Zeke gets the ball. If you're just watching, especially watching from the press box, there is a burst that he has that's different, I think, than what Zeke has.
I'm going to look at that. I just kind of threw 24 out there, but I really wonder how many teams feel like they have a better starter than Tony Pollard right now. I mean, it can't be very.
Statistically, there aren't a lot.
It can't be very many.
Yeah.
Now you do have to factor in he gets to come in and he's fresher than most backs, but still he runs the ball inside the tackles more than we think he does. I mean, it's not just a thunder and lightning thing. It's they're both dynamic. Yeah. All right, 11, Dalton Schultz.
I had him at 12. So right there.
Dropped him a little bit just because maybe you
don't like him.
No, I love Dalton. Are you kidding me? We swap restaurant recommendations. No,
he to the wrong person.
He had the drop C game. He had the drop C game. I don't know, and I mean, not hating on the guy. He made my list.
CD's had some of those moments.
I dropped him a little bit too. But he's been great. I'm not hating on the guy.
Yeah.
All right, number 10. Jaron Curse.
Yeah.
11, but yes.
I mean, just is shocking the way, we didn't even factor him into training camp really. It was like, hey, I guarantee when people were talking about who's going to play safety, he wasn't ever mentioned. And now he's leading the team, or he's second on the team in tackles. He's right up there. He's playing special teams. He's done everything. It's been really.
Like I said last week, I think his attitude is part of this. It's part of it. I think his attitude is part of the defense's confidence right now.
I remember back during the offseason when they were doing their on-the-field activities, and he was out there playing a lot, and I'm thinking, man, who are they trying to save? Like, why they got this guy out there?
Yeah.
He's just kind of taking a spot right now just because somebody else doesn't want to or because they're hurt. Like, there's no way he's going to be around once we get past training camp. And sure enough, that was not the case.
He would have. Sorry, go ahead.
I was saying most of the time when you call the guy the get off the bus guy, it's because he's looks really good, but it doesn't mean that he plays great. It just means like he looks the part.
Right.
But you wouldn't say that if he was a dynamic player. But he's done everything you could ask for.
He would have been near the top of my list of like guys who better have their head on a swivel come roster cut time.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And I mean, just get ready for the J-Ron Curse stories. If you're a Cowboy fan, you follow a lot of people in the media, get ready, okay? It's a bye week. He's going back to Minnesota. It's on a platter for you. You can have it. We'll have it on our side as well. All right, number 9, Amari Cooper. A little higher than I had him.
I had him higher than that. You had him. That's lower than what you had him?
A little lower. I think I had him like 11.
I had him top 5.
That's a big difference for all of us.
I think the world of the guy. And again, maybe I grade on a curve, but we know what he's dealing with. He's got the hamstring. He had the ankle in the offseason. Ribs. He's fighting through so much and still being productive. Somebody on Twitter, it was my buddy Vach. He posted tape from the Patriots game. They were tripling. They clouded his side of the field. Yep. And they're like, don't be disrespectful saying like CeeDee Lamb did all this and Amari Cooper had nothing to do with it. They were accounting for him so much. And by the way, he still caught 5 for 55, which is pretty that's good. That's if you catch 5 for 55 every week, you're going to finish with 1,000 yards, which 1,000 isn't what it used to be. Still a nice benchmark. Like he's having a really good season.
Yeah, and against the Chargers and in this game against the Patriots, this last game, he didn't have great stat numbers. But if you go back and you remember the final drive of the game, he had clutch catches around midfield. Both of those games to kind of get him in that position. You can tell he looks like an old man running around there right now. He's banged up, but he's playing really well. He still gets open
And if you respect Bill Belichick, I think what he told you in that game was there are 2 things you got to try to stop if you're going against the Dallas Cowboys: the running game and Amari Cooper. And you live with whatever else you get. And they tried to live with it, and they almost won living with everything else. But you can't let those 2 factors get off.
And then CeeDee Lamb goes off and waves to the
and says bye-bye.
That's ridiculous, by the way.
$10,000.
I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't understand that.
For a win.
Oh, I missed that. They fined him for that?
$10,000.
$10,000.
It's an American greeting. It's a greeting for the
bye
world.
week, baby. I was doing my best to not pay attention.
He got shoved late, number 1.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah, he was kind of walking in there like that. And if that was college football, he probably wouldn't have counted. I don't know if y'all saw that Iowa State touchdown.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
That's also ridiculous. Yeah. But wave. I mean, the guy who shoved you late, he could have done a lot of things. He just decided to wave at him. It's been there. When you visit someone and you stay for like 5 or 6 hours and then you're about to go home, you just wave by. What's the problem?
I don't get it. How is it a fine?
I don't know.
Well, taunting. I mean, they're trying to crack down on taunting.
Could have punched him in the throat. Instead, he just waved at him. Goodbye. See you later.
If he punched him in the throat, he wouldn't be playing in Minnesota.
Right. I'm just saying, when you get shoved in the back like that late, unnecessary, you could react in a lot of different ways.
I hate to defend the league, but I'm not surprised by that at all.
Well, you're not surprised, but I still think it's wrong. I really want the league to embrace the fact that sports is entertainment, folks. We're not out here. It's not just play. This is not war. I know there are a lot of analogies people make between sports, particularly football and war. It's not. This is a game. This is fun. We're supposed to be having fun. So if guys are talking trash and having fun going against each other, let's embrace that. That's a part of why it's fun. I just don't get it. I totally don't understand it.
You know what else is fun? Giving money to charity. And when they find players, they do that.
That's what happens, I guess.
Your 8th best player on the team is Micah Parsons, according to our DallasCowboys.com staff.
Got it. I had him at 9, right there.
I think that just goes to show how good this team is. He's changing the whole defense.
That's how I feel about this whole list, really.
It's unbelievable. He's 8. I think I had him around there. I don't remember, but I remember typing it. Whatever I had, I'm like, God, it's like there's so many guys.
I honestly went through my list and I was like, could he move up some? Seems like he should be up higher. And I was like, I'm not taking that guy down for him, and I'm not taking that guy down for him.
Every time I kept adding a name, I'm like, delete. Let me keep creating space here.
Number 7, CeeDee Lamb.
I had him at 8, so right there.
And he probably.
Did everybody have CD ahead of Amari?
No.
Or did you had Amari ahead?
I had CD back at 10.
At CD at 8.
I had CD ahead of Amari.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Number 6, Tyron Smith.
That's exactly where I had him.
Yeah.
He's been really good.
It's fun. Going back to the thing about Dalton Schultz, I think I was making this list and I was like, yeah, Tyron looks awesome. He battled through some injuries last week, but then I think He gave up that really easy sack to the Chargers in week 2, and that kind of took me by surprise. I mean, I'm not saying I moved him down because of that, but these are all the conversations you're having with yourself when you're trying to rank players. Because I think I started out with Tyron up by Zach Martin, and I was like, no, that can't be right because I've had no reason to even say Zach's name all year, whereas Tyron, you can quibble if you want to, and so that's probably how he winds up at 6 or 7.
That's exactly how I went through it. I had him up there by Zach, and then I thought about that moment, and I was like, and then he had another penalty. I thought
he had a couple, and he had. I mean, obviously he started out really rough against the Patriots.
So I think when I started factoring those things, I was like, yeah, this is where you're kind of just trying to figure out how you can make a difference between these guys. They've all been great. It's just how do you make a difference between them, and that kind of dropped them a little bit.
I got top 5. Do you want to go to break, or do you want to?
Sure. Let's take our final break. We'll come back. We'll get our top 5 players of the 2021 season so far, according to DallasCowboys.com. We'll be right back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with United Ag and Turf. Before you can park yourself in front of the game, park yourself in a John Deere and power through your chores. Our Land Run package is a 1025R, 25 horsepower tractor with a loader, rotary cutter, and a box blade for $229 a month. And the price you see is the price you'll pay, no surprises. So don't miss another kickoff.
Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com. Offer ends February 1st, 2021. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Now let's get to work.
Honey, big news.
Gary, are you okay?
Oh, I'm not Gary anymore. I'm Jackie Flash.
What?
See, I want the latest smartphone, but the best deals are only for new customers. So, to get a new customer deal, I changed my name to Jackie Flash.
Okay, but the best smartphone deals at AT&T are for everyone, new and existing customers.
That's huge. Then guess who's getting a deal?
Is it Jackie Flash?
Jackie Flash.
It's not complicated. At AT&T, our best smartphone deals are for everyone. Restrictions apply. Visit AT&T.com for details.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at Stetson.com/Cowboys.
Back to the break.
Head to AT&T Stadium on Saturday, November 6th to experience Rally Day presented by SeatGeek. Take a tour of the stadium, play some games, get autographs from the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and more. Visit attstadium.com/rallydays for tickets and more information.
Welcome back. Final segment of the break live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star. We're talking about our top 15 players of the 2021 season so far for the Dallas Cowboys. We've already gone through 15 up to 6.
15, Anthony Brown, 14. So Cedric Wilson, Osa Odigizua, Tony Pollard, Dalton Schultz, Jaron Kearse, Amari Cooper, Micah Parsons, C.D. Lamb, Tyron Smith was 6, and now we go to the top 5.
All right, give me number 5.
Ezekiel Elliott.
That's where I had him. Great Ezekiel Elliott.
I had him at 7. I don't know why. There's a lot of good players on this team.
I'm looking at you like I don't know why.
A lot of good players on this team. Maybe he deserved to be higher.
Yeah.
Oh, I had him at 5 too.
I had him at 6.
See?
I mean,
this brain trust over here. I'm just saying.
Zeke, number 5. I think he's been outstanding. But I think these other 4 guys have made a little bit more of a difference. Maybe. I mean, we say that. I mean, just like you just said, Belichick said, we're going to take away Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott. But
and neither one of them is top 4, right? Yeah.
But I think Zeke's getting a lot of help. I think both of those guys are kind of a committee type thing. They're getting help from other guys. They may be the best at their position, but they're getting some pretty good help with Pollard and CD.
That's exactly where I was going to go with that. How much do you think where you rank Zeke or what you think of Zeke is affected by what you think of Tony Pollard?
I don't know. I mean, I think it helps. I think it helps the offense to have them both. I don't know that Tony Pollard doing that much for Zeke? Like, is Zeke being 15% fresher doing that much. I just credit Zeke, to be honest with you. And
I guess I'm looking at the flip way. Do you think that Zeke may be higher on this list if Tony Pollard wasn't playing as well as he's playing?
No. And again, there's a flip side of this conversation that people have all the time where it's like, man, I wish Zeke hadn't waited till year 6 to buckle down the way that he has this year, but he did. And I mean, I think that's hard work paying dividends right now, honestly. And I think if he was doing it all by himself, I think it wouldn't be as good because Pollard brings a different element, but I think he'd be doing fine.
I think you should be really proud of what he's done this year because running backs, the life of a running back is typically, they say 3 years. And so a special one like him, but he had every reason to kind of just start tailing off after that. Fifth season wasn't, was this his 6th year?
This is his
so his 5th year, it was kind of going south and had some fumbles and wasn't.
And he could live it out for another 3-4 years, just kind of coasting along. He gets to a 10-year career.
He listened to the critics. Yeah. He called it, a show, and not the good kind. And he said it was crappy, and he's changed it.
Self-aware. I love it.
Give him credit for it.
He's very self-aware.
He knows what Tony Pollard's doing too. He doesn't want Tony to take all the snaps.
Yeah,
but it's worked out great, and the fact that they work together. All right, number 4, Randy Gregory.
Hell yeah,
exactly where I had him. Yep.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, think about those other guys. Randy Gregory's had a position where Tank Lawrence has gotten hurt, Dorrance Armstrong's got hurt, and he's taken over, and he's been a stud.
Win team's trying to stop him, by the way, doubling him a lot.
I hadn't thought about this in a while, but didn't we kind of get in a kerfluffle in the offseason when I said he could play his way into the franchise tag? KERFLUFFLE, I believe.
Bam!
I think. I didn't look that up. Didn't I? I believe I said that I thought he could play his way into a franchise tag, and he's on his way to doing that, or at least.
You think that's what they're going to do?
It has to be.
How expensive? That has to be one of the more expensive.
It has to. In the league. It has to be a conversation.
What's Dalton Schultz? What's that franchise tag? I think I might look. I'm not joking.
A lot less. I'm sure it's
that's
a lot.
What I'm saying. I might.
$9.6 million for a tight end, $16 million for a defensive end. Yeah, I mean it's cheaper.
See, I'm thinking I don't want to do franchise tag with Randy. I want to just get Randy signed up to a deal. Okay. I want to give him a 3-4 year deal
Schultz.
if he's willing to do
it. But
Dalton Schultz to me is Jay Novacek. And that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think Dalton Schultz can definitely be your Jay Novacek for this offense. If he's aware to do it. I mean, Jay Novacek was never.
Does it affect it that you've already paid Blake?
I'm pretty sure.
We can talk about that later. We can talk about that later. I don't know. No, not necessarily.
Then why are you talking?
Not saying ready to
talking low.
Blake's contract is structured in a way that they're not married to it. They're not married to it. I don't want to have that conversation.
We just shifted away from Randy Gregory. Yeah. What a great story it is. He's been outstanding, and also the thing I love the most is that he's not just this agile, quick guy around the edge. He is bull rushing people back. He's got some strength.
Okay, but I know we're going to run out of time, but let's talk about that though, because. Yes, it would be great to sign Randy to the long term, but that probably means you have to franchise tag him in the meantime. That's how this always works. He ain't going to sign a deal right now unless he just feels that much loyalty to the Jones family for the way they stuck with him, and maybe he does.
And maybe he should.
That's okay. Yeah. Maybe he does. Maybe he should. Whatever. The point is, you don't see those types of extensions negotiated during the season very often because Randy and his people have to be well aware of what could be at stake. And like I said, unless he's just Tyron Smith and he's like, I'm good, I don't care, just give me something that seems fair, I owe you anyway. And that's possible. I wouldn't bet on it. And so that's how you wind up in a situation with the franchise tag, and we negotiate something later.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he should take a hometown discount because I think you have to make the money when you can make the money. But I do think that, I don't want to say because is a strong word, but I do think he should at least hear out offers. And if it's something that seems fair, then I think he should be willing to maybe do that. Where otherwise he may be like, nah, I'm waiting absolutely. I think now you would kind of give a little bit of preferential treatment because this team did stick by you in times when most teams would have been like, we're out. We just can't do this anymore.
I don't want to speak for Randy, period, especially when it comes to his money, but I won't be surprised if that loyalty plays a factor in all of this. I feel optimistic that Randy Gregory has a long-term future here, one way or the other. Still don't think he would sign an extension in the middle of the season.
Maybe not.
You just don't see it happen very often.
Wasn't there a time back in the day when the bye week seemed like the week that they did deals all the time?
People were hitting me up
all the time
for the last 2 weeks heading up to the bye week, like Randy, Gallup, and Schultz. Just question after question about think something could get done during the bye week, and the answer's usually no, because guys, and you want leverage. Leverage is everything.
Yeah,
and leverage is continuing to play well and stacking those numbers and making your best case.
Okay, I'm going to call an audible here. We're right at the time. I'm going to hold the final 3 until tomorrow.
Let's just power through.
It's going on the website.
Let's just power through. Come on.
We got this.
All right, go ahead.
Number 3, Trayvon Diggs.
What?
That's where I had him, Trayvon Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs, number 3.
Who's number 2? Oh, Zach Martin. Okay.
Trayvon Diggs, number 3.
I mean,
Zach Martin, number 2.
I actually put Diggs number 2.
If you want to just say has been the most dominant at that position, Zach Martin would be number 1.
He was my number 1.
So I'm just saying,
I put Zach Martin number 1.
I think he's definitely number 2. The only reason I didn't put him number 2 is because the other guy is the quarterback.
I had Zach number 3. He's the best guard in football. He's playing out of his mind. I still think concessions need to be made when a guy is on pace to shatter the season record for interceptions in a season that has stood since the year my dad was born.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, no, he has a chance to do
that. Puts it in context.
I'm saying the record has stood since 1954. I think my dad was actually born in 52, but
same thing.
1954.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to break it, but 7 picks in 6 games. I mean, I put him number 2. I think he deserves it.
Well, if you're going to say all that, then might as well make him number 1 in the league. I mean,
well,
he might be defensive player of the year.
I know. I'm just saying. I mean, you say all that, but then you're like, he's number 2.
Well, yeah, because this team would be up S Creek without a paddle without Dak Prescott.
Dak has lost this year. Zach Martin has not.
Ooh, I see what you did there.
No, I put Zach number 1. I think he's played absolutely outstanding. And if you go by grades from the websites that grade, I mean, he's been the best player in all of football 3 of the 5 games he's played. That's ridiculous. He's playing at an incredible level too. Yeah. I put him 2. I mean, I put him number 1. He's number 2 on the list.
You just can't show it in interceptions.
Totally.
But he has been every bit as dominant.
Absolutely.
As Diggs has been.
These 3 guys.
Interceptions.
These 3 guys could be number 1 on almost every other team's list. I mean, that's why they're 5-1, and that's why everyone's talking. where the parade's going to be in playoffs and stuff. I'm just saying. Number 1, Dak Prescott.
Has to be, in my opinion. It's just, I mean, and you're right. Everything you said about Zach is right, but again, the league is skewed so unfairly against cornerbacks. You get so few interceptions or so few opportunities to make plays on the ball, and he's cashing in on all of them. Yep. Whereas Zach's got somebody to block every time the ball gets snapped, and he does an amazing job. But I hate to say easier, but you know what I'm trying to say? Every snap, he's going to line up and mash the guy across from him and create lanes and pass protect. And Diggs might get 2 to 3 real opportunities at the ball in 60 snaps, and he is maximizing them. And that's incredible.
And by the way, those chances that he gets at the ball, he's making some of those.
Yeah.
Some of those are not situations you hear a lot of times. Tip balls. That's where you get a lot of intercept. A lot of these are not those kind of situations. And even the situation in this last game where it was a tip ball. That's a tip ball that I would say 98% of cornerbacks don't make that interception. It came fast. Most of them don't have the reaction skills and the ability to catch the ball. I
still can't. He was
certainly not going to go and hurdle a guy in mid catch.
He was still corralling it when he jumped over. Was it Jacoby Myers, whoever it was?
Yeah. If he had 0 interceptions right now, we would say, he has no picks this year, but he takes everyone's number 1 receiver. He's locking them down, so he doesn't have a lot of opportunities. So don't worry about that. I mean, Deion didn't get a ton of picks, that kind of stuff. But that's what we would say. But he's the best number 3 in the league of any other team. So
just like football's unfairly skewed against cornerbacks, it's unfairly skewed toward quarterbacks. So if your quarterback is in the MVP conversation with Dak I think he belongs number 1.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Everybody's worried about the backup, but that just goes to show just how valuable that he is. Yeah. They didn't win with Zach Martin like that. I think they would play differently against the Bucs if Zach was in there. I think if they have to play him again, I don't think they'd be as. I think it'd be more balanced this time.
Give up, not be so quick to get away from the run.
Maybe not.
I honestly don't think the Cowboys are at all intimidated about having to go back to Tampa Bay if they have to do that in the playoffs.
There's 5 really good football teams in the NFC. And
how about did anybody? We're going long. I'm sorry, but like, did anybody see with the way that the Chiefs were set up and the Bill? Like, did anybody see the NFC being the juggernaut side of the league? Like, the AFC looks like a mess, and the NFC, I think of the 6 quote unquote like best teams in the league, I'd say 5 of them are in the NFC, and then
but
Buffalo.
I also think this is just a moment in time. I think once we get to the end of the season,
we're only a third of the way through.
I think there'll be a lot. I think the Bills are serious. Like, that is a really good team.
Yeah.
They've had a misstep here or there. I don't know that Kansas City is going to get it together until their quarterback starts playing better. But there are some teams in the
November
AFC.
21st.
If you're
exactly,
if you're leaving the Chiefs for dead at 3-4, you feel free.
That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is their quarterback's gonna have to play better.
Yeah,
he is not playing.
Their
well
whole
right
team's
now.
gonna have to play better. But how many times have we seen the Bucs were mediocre as hell until about Thanksgiving last year, and then they just took off.
Turned it on. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why I'm saying we're still early. We'll see what this thing looks like at the end. But right now, it does look very heavily skewed toward the NFC with those 5 teams sitting at the top and all of them looking like teams that could possibly win a title. All right, we appreciate you guys joining us. So we'll be back on tomorrow. We'll do a little big picture look around the NFL, some things happening in the NFC East and around the league. We'll do that when we come back tomorrow. Till then, for Nick Eatman, Dave Hellman, Amber Garcia, I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!